Hi, we're here with Michael Tesalona, the owner of PMNow.biz, performance marketing now.biz, right? Is that what the PN stand for?
Proven marketing.
Proven marketing. Oops. Proven
Close.
marketing now.biz. And he helps businesses grow through search engine optimization. So let's start it off. And today we're going to be learning about how to get high quality backlinks to boost your reach and get SEO.
Cool. So let's hop into this. I can grab the screen, right?
Yes.
So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, cool. So this is just going to go over the, all right, let me just set up a timer so I know how fast I'm moving on this. Okay. So this is basically like the agenda. So we're going to start off with some fundamentals. We'll go over some definitions, just like basic understanding about search engine optimization and search engines that people should know. And then after that, we'll talk a little bit about backlinks, different ways that you can get backlinks, how you can find out if they're good or not. And yeah, depending on who hops on, we'll answer some questions and get through this. Sound good, guys? Cool. Okay, cool. So why SEO? So, you know, I've been doing SEO for a bunch of years now, and one thing that like never ceases to amaze me is basically like the quantity and like the enormity of an impact that great SEO can have on a business. So I'll just give you guys an example. Here is this this company. It's biggerpockets.com. Have you guys heard of them before? All right, so they're in the real estate investing niche. So real estate investing, as you can imagine, it's, you know, a pretty competitive place. A lot of people, you know, people want to flip houses, people want to do all that types of stuff, and they're a major authority. But I mean, they're a big company, but they're not like huge. You know, they're not like BMW. And right now, what we're looking at in this graph is that you've got this company, this website, and you know they're getting about 412,000 hits to their website every single month. And to put like a dollar figure around it, if you wanted to pay for that traffic, if you wanted to pay Google AdWords or pay Facebook or whatever, if you wanted to pay for that traffic, you know, they'd be spending close to $2 million every single month to get that traffic. And when you think about it, it's like, you know, I really like, you know, just wrap your head around that. Like, how big does a company need to be to spend $2 million a month in advertising? And that's like this wouldn't even be their entire advertising budget. This would be, you know, the only part of their budget that's about getting traffic. And this is on a monthly basis, you know? So, you know, like how large does that company need to be? They'd have to be making, you know, at least $20 million a month or something like that, you know? And I don't think that this company is doing that. And that's what's really, I think, really special. And I think that's the thing that most people don't, you know, really consider, is that by really committing to an SEO plan and by really, you know, working, you know, your SEO strategy, like you can grow a website into like, it can have such an outpaced benefit. It's almost like it punches way above your weight. And so, you know, that's what's really cool and exciting about SEO. And that's the reason why, you know, people just keep on coming to it, and people know sort of like in the background of their mind, like, oh yeah, like this getting a bunch of free traffic from search engines can be very, very helpful, because done right, it's just like an insane benefit. So, you know, now that now we've gone into, you know, that part. So, you know, ultimately, like, how does Google decide, you know, who shows up? And I've tried a bunch of different analogies. You guys can tell me how you think this one is. But the way that I like to explain it is it's kind of like making ice. So, you know, pop quiz, Tanya and Shane, how do you make ice? Water and cold. So you're muted, Shane, but I saw you say water and cold. Is that right?
Yes, you put water and cold in a container, keep it cold, you get ice.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So you've water and cold equals ice. And it's a two-step thing. And if you're missing water, is it possible to make ice?
No.
Of course not. And if you're missing cold, is it possible to make ice?
Nope.
Nope. Cool. SEO, two parts. If you're missing one, you're not making ice. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. So many people say, well, I'm only going to focus on this one thing. Wrong. It's water and cold. You can't skip around here. So the two parts are basically on-site, what happens on your website, and then the second piece is what happens off your website, just broadly speaking. So on-site SEO, off-site SEO, you need both pieces. If you like are ignoring one piece, you're literally ignoring 50% of the puzzle and you're not going to be successful. I actually have clients who, it's kind of crazy because, you know, they're working with me on this, this website. I'm building the backlinks for them. They're doing the content. At the same exact time, they're building a competing website with a bunch of content, no backlinks. And at the end of a year, you can see the website where we had been doing the offsite SEO, we've grown like 350%. And the website where they just ignored the offsite SEO, but still produced a lot of content, you know, they grew like 10% and that was it. So you do need two parts. Okay, cool. So what are the two parts? So the good thing about on-page SEO, and this is actually really, really great news, is that, you know, if you're using a platform like WordPress, a lot of this stuff is going to happen automatically for you. And then the other thing is it's actually not that complicated. You really like, if you just screenshot these, like imagine if you're, you know, in school and you're like, I'm going to cram for a test. Like if you literally just screenshot this and created flashcards, you'd be like 90% an SEO whiz. And like, that's all you need to know. It's almost laughable how easy SEO is on an on-page basis. And yet a lot of people, you know, maintain that they're confused by it, but it's really like, you can really simplify this. So we'll go through this, you know, one by one, and you know, it's simple stuff. So number one, you know, is your website mobile friendly? Technology will typically handle this for you. You know, most websites that, most themes on WordPress in 2018 are automatically mobile friendly. If you're going with Squarespace, you know, they check this box for you. Site load speed. So there may be things here that you can do your site, like compressing the size of your images. So for example, if you got a huge background image on your website, like don't have it be 5 megabytes, you know, like just Google, you know, compress JPEG and then, you know, put in that background image, make sure the image is a little bit smaller, make sure you've got a decent hosting company. If you run a legit business, do not pay $5 a month for hosting. Like, don't do it. You're going to get shitty hosting. Get a hosting company that's actually going to make your site fast. Like my favorite is WP Engine, costs about 27 bucks a month, but you're going to be lightning fast. So there you go. And it'll be secure. All right. So those are two things. Page titles are just like the name of your, like what you name your pages. So for example, if you are an attorney who focuses on personal injury, you can have your homepage have that page title where it says personal injury attorney, or if you're in Atlanta, you know, personal injury attorney Atlanta. That's how you would name your page title. Your meta description, you know, simple. That's another way where you can add keywords, but you can also make it where it's just something that people would be interested in clicking on. So, you know, just make sure you fill out your meta descriptions, you know, for the important pages of your website. These are things, by the way, they make it really, really simple if you're using WordPress by installing a plugin called Yoast SEO. So if you're using WordPress, just download the Yoast SEO plugin. And then when you go to any of your pages, it will literally, you know, show, all right, here's what your page title is, here's your meta description. And the other thing would be your URLs. So let's say, for example, we're going to use this lawyer example again. What you can do in the URL is say you've got different practice areas. So say you've got a practice area that focuses on, I don't know, like criminal type stuff. So what you can have is, you know, the name of your website, like, you know, lawyerwebsite.com criminal. So you can use your URL to also add your keywords in there. And then the final thing I would say is figure out how to use H tags in your content. So basically, Google and all these search engines, they're a robot. And then what you can do is you can let them know what's important by using H tags. So just to give like a really quick explainer on that, it's basically like, have you guys ever like written a research paper in like school or in college or anything like that? So like when you write like a research paper, a lot of times people say like, okay, well, here's our main topic. Let's say we're writing a research paper on fast food cheeseburgers. So like the main topic would be like fast food cheeseburgers, right? So that's like your H1. And then what you do is like, here, now let's write a paragraph, or let's write, a bit about, the Big Mac. So that you'd use your H tag, H2 for your Big Mac. You write about that. Now we're going to talk about Whoppers. You use another H2 about Whoppers. So if you're looking at a web page, you can almost break it down in that structure where it's like, okay, we've got the main topic, which is the H1, and now we've got the subtopics, within that subject, which is where we're using our H2s. So I know I brushed over that super fast. Do you guys want to stop me? Does anybody want me to like dive into any of those in a little bit more detail? I'm seeing shaking hands. No. Hey Dan, how's it going, man? Welcome to the Knowledge Up.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I didn't quite understand the H tag things. I am jumping in a little bit late though.
No, it's all right. We literally just got into this. So I've got a Google Doc over here, I think, which explains it. So actually, the way that I wound up talking with a lot of clients about this, I talked to whoever's writing their content, because it's a concept that that's helpful when people are just writing an article. So what I actually recommend is, like, as you're writing an article for your blog or something like that, it's good to sort of like do this exercise. So let me see if I can find this article for you guys really fast. I know I put this in here somewhere. If not, I can just whip it up for you. This looks like it. No. So say so Dan, what industry are you in?
I'm a photographer and videographer.
Okay, cool. So let's like pretend we're going to write an article for you really fast. So so photography or videography, let's say we're going to write an article on how to shoot B-roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in this case, how to shoot B-roll is automatically going to be the H1. That's automatically going to be an H1. And if you're using WordPress, they're going to take care of that for you, so you don't have to worry about tagging. So as we approach this article, sorry to put you on the spot here. Can you name, like, all right, we're going to write an article. What are the 3 things that we're going to talk about in the article?
How to shoot B-roll. I don't know. I guess your final product, gearing B-roll towards different clients, technically the technical aspects of shooting B-roll, versus, versus interviewing. I don't know.
All right. So who's it for? Technical aspects.
Gear recommendations.
Gear recommendations. All right. So I don't know what that stuff is, but I'm going to assume that this makes sense. And then I can't spell recommendations. And then maybe like shot list. I don't know. Is that something you guys do? So basically, the whole point is when you write an article, for the blog, and as you're approaching any page on your website, what you want to do is, before you start writing, you want to map out a structure. And so what this is like, okay, we're going to write about how to shoot B-roll. The first paragraph or the first main point is going to be, who's it for? Guess what? That's going to be an H2. That's going to be an H tag. You're going to use your H tag for that. After you write a little bit, after you write your paragraph about that, now we're going to go over the technical aspects. So that'll be this. So technical aspects of about shooting B-roll or whatever.
And what does H stand for?
H is like heading. So like heading tags is like what the technical thing is. So B-roll gear recommendations would be the next H tag. So, and then the next one would be H2, B-roll shot list. So as you have as you create a blog post, this not only gives yourself a structure, but it also gives a structure that search engines can follow. Like at the end of the day, Google is a dumb robot. So, well, it's a really smart robot, but it's still a robot, And so what they do is like, they don't know what's important. So you got to tell them like, this is the structure of my blog post. These are the main points that we're discussing. These are the important parts. So this way, if somebody, is Googling, gear recommendations for B-roll, even though your main article was how to shoot B-roll, the search engine knows, hey, wait a second, there's a section in this article that talks about gear recommendations. And I know there's a whole section that talks about gear recommendations because you use your H tag for it. Does that make it a little bit easier does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And what's really cool is if you use WordPress, like it's as simple as, like you see how I can highlight and then I can just click here and heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. Guess what? These are H tags, So it's as simple as doing that on WordPress also.
Okay.
All right, sweet. So now these are the main things that you got, these are the main things for on-page SEO. That is half of the puzzle. So before I had said that, in order to make ice, you need water and you need, what's that other one? You need cold, right? And if you want to make ice, but you only have water, you're not making ice. And if you want to make ice and you only got cold, you're not making ice. You need these 2 points. So we talked about the on-page SEO. Equally important is off-page SEO. You need to get this stuff right. If you're ignoring it, you're not going to have SEO. You're not going to have the benefits that come with it. So you really need the second part. So if I had to describe like off-page SEO in one word, I would say backlinks. But I added a few other things over here. And the reason why I add these things is because these are all things that a healthy business has, a healthy online business has, which also help SEO, which also help get you backlinks. But at the end of the day, you really can just like dial it into, backlinks. So the first thing I put here is branded searches. So what that means is how many people are going online and searching Google for your brand name. So if you've got a lot of branded searches, typically it means that you're really well known in your industry. It means that, you've got a solid reputation. And these are all things that search engines are paying attention to. And there's also something that's going to make it easier for you to get backlinks. If people actually know what your business is and you've got a reputation, it's going to be a higher likelihood that people actually backlink to you. Referral traffic, like are other websites sending traffic your way? So are people talking about you in a way where like, oh, now people are going to be checking you out. So for example, like, are you getting articles? It's sort of like generating buzz. Are you getting articles written about you in all these different places that are just, again, increasing your, and just amplifying your brand name. So if you're doing that, great way to, referral traffic actually is where, people are following a backlink to you, but like if they're actually clicking and coming to your site, like that's a great, it's a great SEO. It's something great to help your SEO. Social traffic. Do you have a bunch of people following you on social media and because of them following you on social media, they're now checking out your website? Like if you have that going on, most likely you're increasing your branded searches, more people are knowing about you, and it's going to be easier for people to backlink to you, or more likely that people backlink to you.
For all your posts on social media, do you have to include an actual link to your site? Because there's a lot of times I just throw up photos on Instagram or Facebook, but I'm not actually including my web address at the bottom. So I guess it should be important to have that with almost every post, right? Is that right?
Not always. So like on Instagram, what you can do is in your profile, you can have like a link to your main website. So whoever is really like checking out these photos, they can just click there at any time.
Okay.
Kind of the same thing with, social media, like it's kind of the same thing with Facebook. So if you're writing an article, if there's an article that lives on your blog and then you're just sharing the article on Facebook, that actually is going to include a link. So that'll be fine. A lot of times, like I work with e-commerce companies, and what they'll do is on social media, they're talking about like an offer that they're making. So they'll have like a Facebook ad that talks about like, 30% off this thing, in which case they're linking to their website in that case. But what you really want to have is you just want to have like a lot of people checking you out. You just want to have a lot of attention, because these are things that like Google literally can tell how many people came to your website from Facebook, how many people came to your website from Twitter. And if they're seeing that number being like very large, it shows that, all right, this is a website that we can trust. And this is this is somebody that we feel comfortable with increasing their rankings.
Okay.
All right, cool. And then the big kahuna, the big thing about this, like it really just boils down to backlinks. So a backlink is essentially when one website hyperlinks to your website. So for example, if like, I've got a client, they're an acting school, and New York Times wrote this entire article about how like all these acting schools are closing, yada, yada, except for this one company, this one school is doing really well. So it happens to be my client. And what's really cool is they like named the school, and there was a hyperlink where you can click on it and then go to their website. So yeah, it's awesome. So that's an example of a backlink. So when one website links to your site, and you want as many of these things as possible. It's literally the thing that gave Google a competitive advantage when they came out. Like when they came out, at the time, Yahoo and Alta Vista, like all these search engines, the way that they were showing who comes up number one is like, how many times did you put the keyword on your web page? And as you can imagine, that's really, really, really easy to gain. And what Google said is like, no, we're not going to do it this way. We're going to look for external validation. It's not enough for you to just do on-page SEO. You also have to get other websites, saying, yes, we trust these webs, we trust this. And the way that you vote, the way that you show that, okay, we trust your website is by giving them a link. So that's what Google is entirely like, that's what their model is entirely based off at the beginning. And it continues to be one of the largest, or not the largest, ranking factor. So it's all about getting links. Oh, so before we get into that, I did want to mention really quickly, what makes a good backlink. And when it comes to backlinks, you're looking for two things. You're looking for a backlink that comes from a website that's really well trusted. So for example, NewYorkTimes.com, NYT, or whatever it is, NewYorkTimes.com is going to be more trusted than, I don't know, like Joe's Hoboken Bakery.com, like different levels of credibility here. So you're looking for that, number one, like, is it a well-trusted website? And the second thing you're looking for, is it related to my niche? So if you're in photography, videography, you probably can spout off 10 industry websites like right now. Those are where you want your links from. What you don't want your links from is like doggroomingsecrets.com. Like, why would they ever link to you? So that's the big thing. You want to look for a website that's authoritative and that's also related to your niche.
I had a question about brand searches real quick, if you don't mind, or I can ask later.
No, what's up?
So when I named my company, and I'm sort of having buyer's remorse when I named it, because my company's name is Atlanta Architecture Images, which is not really unique. because any three of those words are not going to, doesn't sound like a company. It just sounds like someone's Googling images about Atlanta or something. Mm-hmm. And when I first began, my website would not come up at all. It just came up with, tourist shots of my city. So now as I'm producing more volume and I'm getting more companies who are, posting about me. And so like I'm coming up, but it's still very generic. It's not like Google or Yahoo or Owners Up or Trello or whatever. Like those words are all super unique, and because they're super unique, there's not like a whole lot of confusion with what it is you're looking for. And I've often thought about maybe potentially changing my name. I'm not gonna do it now, but I've toyed with the idea of it. Is there a way for me to overcome that sort of branded search, because it's such a, I don't want to say generic, but it can be easily confused with other searches.
So I'm gonna bypass like the marketing response to that, like whether or not it makes sense from a branding standpoint.
Right.
I'm just gonna give you like a straight technical SEO response to this. And the response is that whatever your brand name, generally that's going to be the easiest keyword for you to rank for. So if yours is, what was it? Architectural images, general?
Atlanta architectural images.
Yeah. All right. So if it's Atlanta architectural images, most of the backlinks that you get are going to include your brand name. So most of the backlinks you get would be like, Dan over at Atlanta Architectural Images, and then they'll link to you using that phrase. So because if you ever create like a profile on like Facebook, or you ever create a profile on Tumblr, like most of the times it's just going to have Atlanta Architectural Images, and that would be your backlink. And when you do your Google My Business, it's going to be that name. And what's going to wind up happening is that's going to be eventually, that's going to be the keyword that you own. Like they're just going to figure it out. Like search engines are just going to figure out, this is the name of the company, this is the keyword that they rank for.
So if I keep it up long enough, it's going to overcome that sort of generic name to something unique.
Absolutely. And there's things that you can do to speed up that process.
Okay.
So, all right, cool. So as a business owner, what should we focus on? So what do we know? We know like to make ice, you need water, you need cold. To get great SEO, you need on page, you need off page. So like I'm a business owner, like what do I need to do? Like number one, study up on the on page SEO stuff. Like it's not that hard. Like you can literally cram it in an hour and then become like really good at it. Just practice a little bit. That should be fine. So number one, like figure that out. But after that, what should you focus on? You're a business owner, you got a bunch of stuff, and what I would say is number one, a commitment to producing high quality content is super helpful. That is like extremely, extremely helpful. I've like over the years, I've switched my tune on this, but like, I feel like the more and more that I've learned about this, like I'm just, you really need to do this. So if you have a commitment once a week or, twice a month, I'm going to produce great content. That's a great starting point as a business owner. Second thing is generating buzz. So if you are servicing a local market, say like Atlanta, there's going to be things that you can do within your local community that are going to generate buzz. That's going to increase your brand awareness, and at the same time, you're likely to pick up a bunch of backlinks in the process. So I'll give you a great example. I live like in right next to Hoboken in New Jersey, and there is this kickboxing company, this kickboxing gym, and what they do is right on the shorefront of Hoboken, they did this event where they do like outside kickboxing. So like they literally have like all these racks where they're hanging kickboxing bags. They get a bunch of their members outside. We're out in the sun. We're doing a workout. We're kickboxing. Everybody's going to, everybody's seeing it. And it creates a lot of buzz, like that's the type of thing that like local news outlets would pick up. That's like something that's just helpful to get people talking about, whether they love it, they hate it, whatever. But by doing that, you increase brand awareness and you get backlinks. Imagine it's just like local Hoboken newspaper just saying like, yeah, this is what's going on. It's like anybody who wants to try kickboxing, you can just go there for free on this date. And by the way, here's a link to the website. So as a business owner, as you do these things that create buzz in the community, like sort of like traditional like public relations type stuff, you're actually helping your SEO. Just as long as anytime somebody mentions you, just make sure you get a backlink. The other thing is building an audience.
Hello?
All, throughout the internet. I got a button that says
for a second there.
Yeah. What was the last thing you guys heard?
The other thing was building.
So the other thing is building an audience online. So if you're not local, but you service like everybody online, what you can do is things like creating an audience, whether that be in social media, whether that be your email list. The idea is that you want to be able to have like a large group of people, as large as you can, who are interested in your product, interested in your service, interested in your message. Going back up, that's why, again, producing great content is also like a really, really big key, for this. Because it helps, if you actually have something to say, if you're producing great content, it's a lot easier than, to create an audience that way. And then the final thing I want to talk about, and this is where we'll get into 3 quick points. We're running late on time, so I'm going to actually zoom right past this, is outreach. So if you're doing all of these things, you're producing great content, you're generating buzz, you're building your audience, the next thing is you want to actually actively reach out to people to get backlinks. So I'm going to show you 3 great ways that you can do this. So the one is called like the big platform bribe. So, this is basically, if you know that there's a huge platform in your niche, and if like you got on that platform, that'd be really, really helpful for you. So for example, if there is like a really, like a really influential architectural, magazine or something like that, and you're like, hey, look, I really need to get in this. Here's one thing you can do. So step 1, find the publication you want to be featured in. Step 2, find a similar article, that a topic that you can write about. And then step 3, reach out to the person who wrote the article. And the way that we're bribing them is we're basically saying like, look, let's collaborate on something, and I'm going to just pay to promote the hell out of this article. So, when you've got a lot of like editors, like they want to make sure that the articles are actually getting seen. So here's like an email script that you can follow. And what you'll notice is that if you can see this on my screen, whatever we write, I'm going to pay to amplify on my social media channels so it gets more views and shares than any other article you've written. So, there's a million different ways you can reach out to people to write, to have them allow you to write on their platform. And the whole idea is like, what's in it for them? So here's just one example of a way that you can basically bribe somebody to have, to have you featured on, on one of on their platform. By the way, I've heard this is really helpful if you want somebody to come on your podcast. So I've heard of people where like, all right, how am I going to get somebody big on my podcast? And you can literally say to them, look, I guarantee you 10,000 views. And the way you can really do that is just really simply through Facebook advertising. You can just promote whatever thing that they have through social media. Cruising along, create a guest post page on your blog. This is something that I do on my own website, and we get emails probably on a daily basis. So I'll just show you guys what this looks like. Right here at the bottom, it says, there's a link, it says guest post. And if you click here, it says, hey, contribute to guest post, contribute a guest post to our blog. You can fill out this form. When people fill out this form, I basically say like, hey, look, we'll allow you to guest post on our blog, but in exchange, we'd like the ability to guest post on one of your blogs. Is that okay? And so what it basically is it winds up being a way that you can open up to get more links from other people. And what's cool about this is it's a little bit more passive. What you'll do is like I get an email every single day, and I just I just send out that quick canned response. And then I see like, all right, is their website powerful? Is it in my niche? Those 2 things, how to judge a good backlink. So that's another little trick that you can do. You can do this like in 15 minutes. And the other way you can do this is really helpful if you're a local service provider also, is if you give backlinks in your content. So for example, I've got a client is a local preschool. We wrote an article about like the top 10 family-friendly restaurants in Hoboken, and we linked to those people. And then what did we do? We've reached out to them saying like, hey, so-and-so, Mr. Pizza Restaurant, we mentioned you in this post, and we linked to your site. Feel free to share it on social media and check it out. And so it's not like guarantee that they're definitely going to link to you, but it's actually a great way to build partnerships, build a little bit of buzz and just goodwill throughout in your area.
Should you be asking their permission for that? If you like, say I found a blog post by someone that I really like, and I wanted to do a quick little, short little post about it, and with a link, do I need to like contact them and be like, hey, I'm just writing a short little paragraph about your cool article, or do I just do it and throw up that link and keep going?
Yeah, I mean, I would throw up the link and then, maybe let them know that you did it afterwards if you want to see if they're going to share it or if you want them to link back to you. Okay. So that's the way that I would do it. I'd do it first and then I'd ask for it. There's I gave you 3 quick tips, but there's an entire website like literally devoted to how to get backlinks, and it's backlinko.com. So, I definitely recommend I definitely recommend checking it out. And more than anything, it's like, look, nothing happens in business unless it's like systemized, unless it's like a process. And so, this is super important stuff, for any business. And so what I'd recommend is like taking some time to really figure out like, what is my plan? What's a plan that I can commit to? It's like, all right, I'm going to figure out, I'm going to learn this on-site SEO stuff just a little bit better. That's an hour, and then like, okay, well, on a monthly basis, we're going to spend whatever it is. We're going to invest in 2 high quality articles a month. We're going to create that content. And then what are we going to do? We're going to reach out to, 100 people, 50 people, whatever it is, but like create like some sort of a process so that like all of these things are getting done on a month in, month out basis. And that's how you're really going to have success with your SEO. Yeah, so that wraps it up, Tanya. I don't know if we want to jump into questions or how you want to do this.
Yeah, let's jump into questions. Do you have a tool that you recommend to show what the value of the backlink is?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest family-friendly one would be SEMrush. So it's semrush.com. It looks like this. It actually might be a little bit too more. Let's see on the free version what you can check out. Let's see on the free version, because nytimes.com. Let's see what information they'll give us for free. Yeah, so what they'll tell us is they'll tell us the total number of backlinks. So that's pretty good, just knowing the total number of backlinks, knowing how many organic search, this is how many searches, how many hits they get to their website every month. Those are, that alone is going to tell you if it's like a somewhat strong website. And you'll know if it's niche specific based off of, just using your brain. Moz.com, they've got a bunch of free tools also. They got, this thing, free SEO tools, which are really helpful also. Oh yeah, actually, you know what? I take it back. This is exactly what I would do. If I wanted like a free go-to thing is, there's this thing called like Mozbar. You can download it. I don't use it because it's not the strongest one, but it's really good. And what Mozbar will do is like, as you're on a website in your browser, it'll give it like a number, and that number correlates to how strong the website is. So if like the number is like 10, like that's weak. If the number is 99, you're like, whoa, this is a really powerful website. And it'll literally just show up right there. So whenever you go to a website, you'll see, oh wow, they call it domain authority. This has a domain authority of like 45. That's really, really strong. It says domain authority of 25. It's moderately strong. So just download that this free Mozbar thing, and then anytime you go to a website, you can see how strong it is.
I had a question. I can't remember what it's called. Does a redirect screw up SEO? Because I have my little domain that's like very, very short, so that I can just tell people and they can pop on it real quick instead of having to write out my entire name. And then it redirects to my actual site. Does that interfere with SEO at all?
No, that's fine. So the one time where it may impact things is if your backlinks are going to that short domain.
Okay.
So even if that does happen, you will maintain some of your link juice. So that's not even a big issue, but it will be diminished. So because you're getting it through, the link juice is flowing from that short domain to your main domain, you're going to diminish some of the link juice. So that's the only.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So the only thing I'd recommend is, like, as you're link building, make sure you're link building to your main domain.
Okay. All right.
Shane, do you have any questions? What is a good number for, like, say you're reaching out to guest posting, you're first starting. What is a good number to say, oh, if I got 10 guest posts, backlinks, that'd be good?
What do you mean? Do you mean, like, what metric you want to hit on the outreach side, or what metric do you want to hit on, like, earned links side?
So so basically when you guest post, you're hopefully getting a backlink to your website.
Okay.
So what would you aim for when you would first start to say you're on the right path?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it totally depends on, like, how much time you can spend on it. So, like, if you're saying, like, look, I'm producing 2 pieces of content and I'm reaching out to 100 people a month, if that's what you can commit to, like, I would focus on, like, committing to that and actually doing that work, and then seeing where, like, the chips, like, where do things, like, pan out at the end of it. If you're getting 5, like, really high quality links, like, coming at you consistently every month, like, I think that's, like, a pretty solid, starting point. And if you're getting, and if you're getting more than that, double, triple, quadruple, like, at some point it becomes a flywheel. What I mean by that is, at some point, like, I was talking to somebody the other day, they're writing about ketogenic Asian cuisine, like, they're basically like a food blogger on, like, ketogenic diet, but, like, all Asian style stuff. And, her website, this blogger, like, she's got an insane amount of links because she ranks for, like, ketogenic diet. And now, like, when anyone's writing about it, they automatically see her and they link to her. So in the beginning, like, maybe she needed to work really hard to get the links, but now that she shows up, it's a flywheel because people see her as number 1, and now they're automatically linking to her because she already is number 1. So if that makes sense, like, what I focus on, going back to it, is just focus on the process. Make sure you're getting a healthy, decent, number of links between 5 and 20 a month. And then at some point, when you're going to just start, it's just going to start working on its own.
Do you think videos are an untapped market right now for backlinks or like infographics? Because everyone's just writing.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, it's all about, like, the value that you give somebody, so for example, one trick is about infographics. Like, hey, I'm going to make this great video. I'm going to make this great infographic that's just so amazing. And then you just send it to a bunch of people and be like, hey, I made this. This is great. Your readers are going to love it. Just please link back to me if you use it. And that's a great way where, like, they're like, oh, wow, thanks for putting this together. This is valuable. The same thing, and much more likely to post that. Same thing about a video. So again, that preschool client, it's a bilingual preschool, and TED Ed produced this amazing video talking about the benefits of bilingualism. So what did we do? We posted that on the blog. And so, their YouTube channel is getting a backlink there. So if it was a video that you had posted on your blog and then it was living there, they could do the same thing. You could do the same thing. You could spread you could do a lot of outreach promoting that video, and then just letting people know, like, hey, look, feel free to link to this, feel free to embed this, and this is where it lives. It lives on my blog. But like, videos and infographics, um, people are increasingly like, getting savvy to like, this is a great thing. This is something you can do to earn a lot more backlinks. But like, ultimately it just boils down to like, what's in it for them? What's in it for the person you want to link from? Like, why would they give you a link? So if you have a great infographic, bang, that answers the question. If you got a great video, all right, that's why they would link to it. If you're going to pay to promote the content, all right, cool. That's another reason why. So that's what you kind of always need to be thinking about is like, what's in it for them? What's the value exchange? And what's the reason why someone would ever link to me?
I have a question, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Okay. And so 2 questions. One, typically how quickly can a client expect results? Should a client expect results? Like, should they expect 3 months or 6 months? What's the best case and worst case scenario that you tell a client?
It results in SEO really boil down to 2 things. Number one is how are your rankings improving for different keywords? And number 2, how is the traffic overall to your website increasing? So it's going to depend on how difficult the keyword is. Like, let's assume it's a really simple keyword. Usually on-site SEO for non-competitive keywords is enough to boost your rankings. If you've got like a moderately difficult, and that'll happen in like 2 weeks. If you've got like a moderately difficult keyword and the website is pretty well established already, by doing, backlinks, like you should see some movement within the first 2 or 3 months. You're not going to see yourself get to the first page, but if you're tracking keywords, maybe you started out on position 50 and then after 3 months, you're on position 30, so within the first few months, you definitely should see some improvement, but you're not going to, for most competitive keywords, you're not going to see first page placement.
Okay. And then thank you so much. And then the next question is, there's so many companies out there that do SEO. Like, how does like a novice person or like a business owner or someone just say, okay, they're going to want to work with an SEO company? How do you vet an SEO company? Because they've all got, case studies and all that stuff. What are your...
Yeah, so I actually wrote this. I actually have like, if you go to Bradford Crabtree, there's an SEO hiring checklist. And it's basically like a checklist of, you just go down it and it's like, all right, like literally these are the things to check off. And it's simple things like, look, does their website rank for any like competitive keywords? Talk to them about backlinks. Did they talk to you about, what backlinks you're going to be building? Will they show you the backlinks that they're building for you? Are they trying to like make this sound really confusing, or are they being really transparent about the whole process? So I put together that checklist. You guys can it's bradfordcrabtree.com/5-secrets. So you can just go there and download that checklist. It's pretty helpful.
Cool.
And there's like, what's up?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, the only thing I was going to say is like, I understand that like, it's like sort of, what's the word? It's like, kind of like, oh, all right, you're an SEO company, you're writing about this checklist, like, a little bit, what sort of bias or whatever. But like, I legit try to make this in a way where it's like, if I wanted, my cousin or somebody, wanted to hire an SEO company, this is the advice I'd give them.
It makes sense. And last thing there, would you suggest someone work with a company that specializes? So for example, there may be some companies out there that specialize in lawyers, like an SEO company that specializes in lawyers. Is there a benefit to working with an SEO company that specializes in industry, or would it be better to work with a company that's more broad so that they're willing to learn? What are your takes there? And that's my last question, I promise.
So if it's that's a really good one. So if it's a good SEO company, like if they actually know what they're doing, it can be really helpful to work with one that like knows an industry. And the reason for that is because, how do we judge a good backlink? Like a backlink is a link that is a good one, is one that's authoritative and that's industry specific, right? So if you're working with an SEO company that can get you links and they have relationships with all of these highly authoritative legal websites, then yes, that's a competitive advantage, right there. The trouble is that just because a company like says they are, does SEO and is in this niche, that doesn't mean that they actually have those two things, so it's sort of like, you still need to vet them. The one thing that I would say though is like, this is actually a direction I've like sort of been evolving into over the years, is that like, I think more and more it's, SEO is really about like getting, you can hire a company to make sure that your on-site SEO is all buttoned up and that you've got, you're really well optimized, you're doing all that stuff. But, and it's helpful for them to be building some links, but really, the onus to a large extent is on the actual website, the business owner, to build super quality, high quality backlinks, because, like an SEO company can only do so much. So like I've got a client, for example, they're in like the Brazilian jiu-jitsu niche. And what they did was like, I've been building backlinks for them for a while. But what they did was they just like contacted like the main industry websites and they're like, cool, we're going to take out ads in your sidebars, and they're like, they paid for it, but they also got like a bunch of backlinks, through, aside from those sidebar, like they were able to get, backlinks to their website. And that's something that, we weren't able to do, but because, it's the business owner, because they've got, they're working with the rest of their advertising budget, they're able to do that and secure these really high quality links for themselves. So I think like more and more, it's like, don't depend, like never outsource this in your thinking. Like you can outsource certain tasks, but like there needs to be like, all right, SEO is part of the strategy that we're doing. And, the business owner, or at least somebody within the company, needs to have that as like their mandate, that, they're doing it for the company, because it's almost like, don't outsource your social media to an outside company, because like inside the company, you could produce the best social media content. The same thing with SEO, like inside your company, you can really get the best links.
I had a quick question.
Thank you.
Is it better to get like 50 backlinks from YouTube, or say 10 from YouTube, 10 from Facebook, 10 from a blog? And, is it better to get smaller amounts from different sources, or like a huge volume from, say, YouTube or Facebook or something large?
So that's a really good question. When it boils down to it, link juice only passes on your first link. So whether or not YouTube is linking to you one time or 1 million times, it's the same amount of link juice that's getting passed. So what I would focus in on is getting multiple links. Yeah, from different places.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you so much, Michael. We'll never forget. Ice, water, and cold. Love it.
Yeah.
And you make it sound so simple, right? We're all like, oh yeah, SEO is going to be simple.
It is. It's not that hard.
Well, thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.